Brighton and Hove, please. Oh, sorry, the Policy Commission, sorry. Sorry, Policy Commission.
Thank you. Eleanor Firman, Social Security Commission Convener. Chair, Conference. I just want to ask for a quick show of hands. How many people have only seen this policy, which is very long? How many people have only just seen it this morning? Quite a lot. Okay. It is very detailed, but I'm going to just give you a very basic introduction to it to start with. I want to present this report from a dual perspective and show not only how this policy challenges the coercive and punitive system that is British social security today, but also how it relates to other policies developed within Left Unity, in particular the Economy and Environment Commissions. But first, I also want to thank all who've participated in the Social Security Commission so far, and want to acknowledge here that the great diversity and depth of ideas that members have shared here. You can see that it's more than a list of immediate demands, but if I had to pitch it in 30 seconds, I would sum it up as: everyone is entitled to a decent material living standard as a basic human right, with no strings attached. That means cash and in-kind benefits with, most importantly, no sanctions, no forced labour, and no conditionality. However, this position is not premised on a consumption-led economy. And by that I mean, we understand that you have to produce something before you share it out. We recognise that the major reconstructive efforts are necessary that I've mentioned in the Economy Commission. So, for example, renewable energy production to retrofit as well as build green and accessible infrastructure, including social housing and transport. We need to expand our public services such as health, social care and education and so on. And Felicity illustrated well the kind of developments that we need to see. We need to really invest seriously in a major rebuild of our society. But just as those policies make specific provision for worker-led production and organisation, so too must our approach to social security. We must overhaul the state institutions which administer and/or deliver benefits. And I mentioned that briefly as by referring back to the very earliest forms of social insurance, which were the mutual societies of the 19th century, which were, albeit mainly skilled workers. They pooled a portion of their income so that they could share it out in times of hardship when people were laid off or when they were sick. Then the Liberals took hold of that and converted it in the beginning of the 20th century, and they took control of it, so no longer was it managed and administered by workers. Now, post-war, 1946, we have the National Insurance Act, and this transformed it even further still by centralising the collection and distribution of contributions, with results that benefits one an even greater attrition. So the basic system was basically very much in the hands of workers and the general population. A social security policy now must defend past labour gains, and while in some ways national insurance has become, and in many ways always was, a fairly regressive policy, particularly for the lowest paid, we can see how militant pensioners behave when politicians try to meddle with it. And also the NHS, which is partly funded by national insurance. The sense of ownership is palpable. So, because we will be creating fantastic jobs to rebuild society, we mustn't forget that there will still be some people left in the private sector, and it is these people whose reforms to national insurance that we've listed in the policy, that we're thinking of those people to ensure that they have adequate social protection and security going forward. We have to think of everybody. Now, the report also lists, although I think ultimately, most of us in the Commission would agree that ultimately all social security should come from taxation. But we're not there yet. The level of struggle is not yet there yet. The report also lists many of immediate demands relating to non-contributory benefits or social assistance. And again, that slogan, no sanctions, no forced labour and no conditionality, runs through all these demands. But in addition to all cash benefits, we aim to supplement these with in-kind benefits and to raise the combined value of these to the Joseph Rowntree minimum income standard. In particular, we refer to energy and water quotas because this will help reverse the commodification of natural resources, which, although they're produced by human activity, they're provided free by nature, and we all should have unconditional use and access to these. I propose that once these resources are taken back into public ownership and the delivery of a quota is in place, it would be far harder for capital to intervene and overturn than the distribution of money. And we must also remember that money doesn't guarantee use value. The same in-kind principle applies to the provision of child and social care on a 24-hour basis, not only to ensure living wages are paid to these workers, but to enable all who want to work.
Can you come to a conclusion, please, Comrade?
Conference. I move the report.
Thank you. Can I have Brighton and Hove, please?
Does it work?